Hello everybody and welcome back to Arsen Girl Gaming. My name is Heather and I thank you for joining me for another Sims FreePlay video. This one is a walkthrough of the hands-on seasonal event that is happening right now as I speak. And this is the first Sims FreePlay video that I have really done in the last year, and I apologize to you guys for that, but I've been kind of playing sporadically and not in the sense that it was worth recording for you guys, though I do have some stuff on my roadmap in the future that I will be doing for you, maybe some early access things with the Sims FreePlay team. So keep an eye out for that. I will be doing some more Sims FreePlay content coming soon. I know a lot of you have been asking for that. I'm going to kick it off with this hands-on event. And the reason I've chosen to do this one is because this one is one that I have been dying for. And I didn't even know I was dying for it, but I needed to win this dang dishwasher. Why, you say? Well, because if you've watched any of my old videos, you know I like to have a cooking school, and then my lot gets littered with plates, and I hate cleaning them up, and then I bulldoze the lot, and the plates are still there. Oh, it's just a whole mess. So with this dishwasher, one click, bye-bye plates. Dirty, clean, it doesn't matter. Bye-bye. And I'm so happy about this. I didn't really care about the home automation. I don't care about changing the lights. I just wanted the dishwasher. And now you and I can both have this dishwasher in our game. So I am going to do a complete walkthrough of the event. I did use a lot of my LPs to speed through it, so it won't be too long, but I hope you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, all right. So we have 7 days to complete this. If you use LPs, it will go a little bit faster. According to the Early Adopter magazine, inventor Professor Hands Free is in town with a prototype and needs a sim to test his revolutionary product. It's critical the device is tested before his meeting with investors. Your sim loves high-tech gadgets. Send your sim to the park and talk to the professor. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to send a sim to the park. And then one of the things I do whenever we have these kind of events is I just leave a sim at the park. I don't send her home and send her back. I just leave her there, and that way I can switch pretty easily between them. So let's get that sim to the park. We'll have her talk to Professor Hands Free. Now, like I said, I am going to just blow through a lot of this using LPs. Maybe show off some little interactions that I find enjoyable, but it won't make us suffer through too much of the actual gameplay, because I know you guys are probably either in the middle of the quest right now, getting ready to get started on the quest. 7 days, if you don't use LPs to speed things up, will probably be a hard one to completely get through. You'll be having to dedicate some time to this because there are lots of little bits and pieces to it, as always. All right, so your sim approaches the professor, who informs your sim that he's created a computer program that improves home automation by 37% and wants to know what objects it would interact with. Will your sim help the professor? So, of course we'll consider helping the professor. And now that that's done, your sim has considered helping the professor. He says he only needs ideas for objects that his program can interact with. How hard can that be? Your sim will help. Have your sim talk to the professor and agree to help. So we've considered, and now we're agreeing. You know, we're a very agreeable bunch of sims, for the most part anyway. So let's do this little talky talk thing. And that task is now complete, and your sim talks to the professor and agrees to help. He instructs your sims to compile a list of items that could benefit from home automation. Best have your sim sleep on some ideas first. Send your sim home to sleep. Click on the bed, sleep on some ideas. Maybe. If my sim gets up here fast enough, I should just click on that bed and get out of this. Oh, yeah. Okay, so your sim wakes with heaps of ideas. Remote kettle warmers, self-sliding shower curtains. Surely these are of use. Your sim better sanity check their ideas online. Have your sim use a computer to sanity check ideas. And if you don't have a computer, they're in the electronics tab, so go check them out. I do have to say, I do love the bubbles. They make things so easy to find. So now that we have checked the computer, Your sim browses the internet for their ideas, is deflated that no one seems to want remote kettle warmers. Perhaps watching TV will cheer them up. Have your sim watch talking tech on TV. TVs can also be found in the electronics tab. And guys, I'm sorry about the graphic glitches on this. I recorded this on my iPhone. I'm not really sure why the graphics are so glitchy on me, but it's got to be internal to the phone for whatever reason. I'll work on that, and hopefully my next video will be a little bit better, but it's definitely easier to do Sims FreePlay videos directly using the iPhone 10 screen recorder. All right, so we've rushed through the watch tech, talking tech TV, and your sim watches some episodes of talking tech and is suddenly full of ideas. What if lights and curtains were automated? If your sim can barely contain their thoughts and needs to tell the professor immediately, send your sim to the park to talk to the professor. And I'm just going to click on my sim that's already at the park hanging out with the professor, so that makes it a lot easier. We are going to discuss our ideas. Discuss away. Discuss. And we have done all of the discussing, so your sim tells the professor about their idea. The professor loves it. He hands your sim a USB with HANS inscribed on it. He says it stands for Home Automation Network System. Install this on your computer and be careful. It's the only copy. So go home and put that on the computer. I'm going to switch back to a sim at home and do just that. So let's get downstairs to the computer and install HANS. All right. And now that is done, your sim arrives home, installs HANS on their computer. Say what? The computer is frozen. No matter what your sim does, it's completely unresponsive. It looks like your sim will have to inspect their computer to find the problem. So inspecting takes 2 hours, 50 minutes, or 2 LPs to speed through that. But I do like to check out how cute they look on this computer system. So adorable. Okay. My favorite computer system, actually. Your sim inspects the computer, their solution, turning it off and on again. Success. Well, so it seems. Your sim's desktop is completely replaced by HANS logo and several home appliance options, but nothing's working. Better get back to the professor and let him know. All right, so we're going to report that for over 4 hours, or use 4 LPs to speed through this, which I am doing, of course. Your sim arrives in the park and tells the professor about the unresponsive HANS option. He apologizes. The program itself may not be enough and needs some sort of transmitter to connect. All right, so we're going to discuss that transmitter again here for 5 hours or 5 LPs. Your sim and the professor discuss the creation of the transmitter. Your sim is concerned. Who is going to make this thing? Have your sim get some clarity from the professor. 4 hours and 55 minutes later, or 4 LPs, and we've got clarity. We may not really like what it's telling us, but we've gotten it. Your sim asks the professor who's building this. Your sim, he hands over a list of parts needed to build it. Paper clips, loose chains, and bread ties. Parts can be found in most objects in houses. Go home and search and find 20 parts. So what I did is I go home to my sims there because I pre-recorded this while I'm doing the voiceover, and I literally set up a bunch of sims to go hunt for parts, and they were in things like the toilets, the sinks, the couch, the beds, etc. And then I walked away from the game for a little bit, and so when we return you will see where we're at. Okay, so I could only have 8 sims searching at one time, so I was not able to find all the parts needed, but what I did when I came back in is just have more sims start searching for parts and then rush through those using LPs. Now, later on, you'll see that I did find a trick for the searching with the parts. If you're going to use LPs, and it doesn't use a ton of LPs to get through this part, just pick one item and click on it use the LPs, keep doing it because you get random parts, and later on you're going to need to find 50 parts in that section. So it went a lot quicker than doing it the way I did it at this early stage. So just a heads up, if you're going to use LPs, that's the best way to do it. Now we have all the parts needed, and we have the schematic on how to make it. So we just need to go and make it on the front lawn. Big X marking the spot. We're going to send our grandma down there and make our transmitter. There she is, slowly but surely making her way to the X, and now she's going to start building the transmitter that we need. Now, it's really small, so I'm not sure why she had to do it in the front yard, but it's kind of funny watching her like beat this thing with the wrench. So yeah, there you have it. 6 LPs later, we are done, and now we will follow the professor's crude schematic. Your sim does create the HANS transmitter. They're feeling rather pleased with themselves. Now they go plug it into a computer to hopefully talk to the other appliances in the house. So off we go to the computer, plug in that transmitter. I love to see Grandma like doing her thing on the computer. I love it. 6 LPs later, we are done. We got 5 social points, which I really needed. And we shall move on. Now that we have plugged this in, we wait patiently. The device is booting and should be ready in 23 hours and 12 minutes. Tip here, use the speed ahead button. It's only 10 LP to get past this versus using like 23 LPs if you were just to do the time. So very cool. Get you past that hump if you have the LPs. Highly recommend at this point doing that. Your sim plugs in the transmitter and nothing happens. It won't power on at all. This is not good. Your sim tries to remain calm, but feels an overwhelming need to vent to someone. Pick a sim and vent. So we're gonna vent because she's just waiting right here for me. Now that that is done and we have vented, we are happier. So your sim vents their frustration to another sim. What are they going to do now? They may have to just destroy the only copy of his program. Perhaps taking a deep breath and thinking about the design will spark some ideas. Have your sim sit on a couch to consider the professor's design. Thankfully, I have a couch right in the office, so we are going to consider that. What did I just do? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Your sim considers the design. Aha, there's a compartment for a weird secondary power source. Your sim is unsure what to insert. Have your sim discuss this with 5 other sims. That is going to take quite some time to do. We're, of course, going to rush through that with our LPs. That is finished, and your sim discusses the power source. The consensus is there needs to be an ore to amplify the signal. Where can it be found? Surely it's mentioned in the geological records. Have your sim read geological records from a bookshelf. Okay, let's go read a book. Geological records will take us 4 hours, 30 minutes, or 4 LPs, of which we shall spend after my bunny gets to the bookshelf because he's so dang cute. Okay. Oh, that's funny. He jumped all the way back to the dining room. Your sim reads geological records and discovers that there's a rich vein of powerful ore called dim light beneath the park. Perfect. Have your sim dig in the park for dim light. Say that 3 times fast. Dig for dim light, where the X marks the spot. Just dig, 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 dig a lot. Oh, that's a new song. Wonder if anybody will try to copyright that one. All right, girl, get that dig on. And we're done. Your sim digs up a piece of dim light to test out in the transmitter. Best go home to see if it really works. Send your sim home and add that dim light to the HANS transmitter at the computer. All right, let's add that dim light for 1 hour. Alex, 1 whole hour. Gugh, get to that computer, Granny. Get that dim light added in there for me, please. Please, thank you so very, very, very much. And your sim has added the dim light and HANS powers on. A faint hello, where am I? Emanates from the computer. Did your sim accidentally open a chat on SimBook? Best investigate. Is that computer really talking to me? It's like Siri, but not. All right, we responded to that mysterious voice. And where am I? It's dark in here. Hans, is your sim hallucinating? Have a cold shower to make sure that they are awake. Go send your sim to the cold shower, which I'm going to do, but not really do. Because, you know, she doesn't move very fast. She's a little long in the tooth here. Your sim stands in the ice cold shower. They can still hear questions coming from the computer. Is your sim definitely not hallucinating? What is going on? Do some more investigating. Speak to them. Find out why there's a ghost in the machine. All right, Granny. Come on. Do your thing, girl. Do your thing. She spoke to Hans, and I found the internet. Hans exclaims, it's full of pictures of food. I want some. I want ice cream. Computer programs can't eat. Your sim will need to break this unfortunate news to Hans. Have your sims tell Hans it's unable to eat ice cream. And this choice, we're going to talk about ice cream for 3 hours and 20 minutes or 3 LPs. So, yes. I mean, I could probably talk about ice cream for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Totally could talk about ice cream because ice cream is delicious. But we're going to rush through that. And so now your sim has broken the news to a computer program is unable to eat ice cream. Says the disappointed Hans, Sims love taking those selfies. I want one too. Your sim knows this is certainly something they can deliver. Have a sim take a selfie with Hans or the computer. So we're going to take a selfie for 1 hour and 40 minutes or 1 LP, which of course we are using. So now your sim takes a selfie with Hans, who is now eager to share the photo online, but Hans needs some friends on Simbook so they can see it. Why not introduce Hans to some new friends online? Okay, so we have to do this several times. So what I'm going to do is literally just rush through this by clicking on the computer with the same sim over and over again for each segment. Doesn't know it, but he's only friends with me many times. But we have befriended him, and we shall move on to the next step. Hans is glad to have made so many friends. I booked a cruise with everyone, just like in the photo, says Hans. Whoa, Hans must focus. If your sim can't get Hans interacting with the house, the professor's project is over. Have your sim use a computer and try to teach Hans what he needs to do. 3 hours and 40 minutes or 3 LPs. And we move on to the next step. He has confirmed how to use lights, but thinks it's boring. He's giggling like a mischievous child. Time to get to the bottom of his behavior. Have your sim confront Hans at a computer. So 3 hours and 20 minutes later, or 3 LPs. That is done, and your sim questions Hans about its behavior. Hans says it's interested in becoming a real sim. Seems Hans is struggling to comprehend that it's a program. Maybe getting a computer expert to talk to Hans would work. There's always the computer whisperer hotline. Have your sim phone the hotline. Try to talk some sense into Hans. And that whisperer hotline is going to be 4 hours, 30 minutes, or 4 LPs. And we have talked to the Whisperer hotline and the Susan Sparks. Susan understands apparently computer programs developing Sentience is a common problem. She says she will be straight over to help us. So now we got to go outside and find Susan and have a discussion with her about what the heck is going on with Hans. Where is Susan? Oh, over there, hiding in the corner. I should have known. Everyone always hides in the corner. All right, we're going to discuss our problems for over 6 hours or use 6 LPs. And we got 15 SPs for that, which is really freaking nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your sim explains the situation to Susan. She says she will need some time to consider which course of action is the best in this case. Susan says she should have a solution in 3 days and 23 hours. So 4 days. Skipping that task is a much better option. It's 10 LPs. And now Susan has a solution. Have your sim talk to Susan about her Hans solution. So that's only 5 minutes. That is 1 LP, of course. Gonna go ahead and use that. And your sim talks to Susan. She explains that what is needed is an expectation controller. She hands your sim a list of parts needed to create it. Parts can be found in most objects of the house. Get some sims to search different objects in the house to find the parts. You do have to find 50 parts in this area. And this is where I was telling you that I literally just came in here to the bathroom and just had the sim search over and over and over again. And you'll see doing that they find like random amounts of parts. So, you know, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 7. You just have to get to 50 before you can move on. All right, we got all 50. We found all parts in the house. Your sim has got what Susan asked for. Now give them to her so she can make the expectation controller for Hans. So Susan's hiding back out in the yard again. We'll give her those parts. And then the parts Susan has gotten, she builds the controller. Hopefully it works. Susan says she has to go to another job. We say thank you, goodbye, time to test it out. Go to the computer, install it, and that gives us dim lighting. So I'm sorry I did not test it, but I will test this later. We did get colored lighting, of course, as well. So we can go ahead and change the color and look. And then, of course, we need to turn off the lights. So we've dimmed, we've changed colors, we've turned off the lights. Before I turn off the lights, I do want to show you what the color changes look like. This is just the red lighting that we chose. It's kind of interesting. And then turning it off just puts your house back to the way it was. Hans passed every test. Thank you. I believe I found my calling. Seems he's happy. The professor needs to hear the good news immediately. Go back to the park and let him know. All right, we're delivering the news. The professor's getting excited. We explain that we're able to get Hans to work with the lights as well as talk, but the professor is furious because he's talking. We can't have a sentient program. It must be destroyed immediately. What can we do to talk the professor out of his decision? We have to beg him, and beg him we will. Maybe we can change his mind if we beg him. Your sim begs until they are blue in the face. He remains steadfast in his decision. Perhaps some external input from Susan could help, so we'll have to have Susan come and join us at the park. But we have to call her first and tell her to come to us. Come help us, Susan. Help us, help us, help us. Your sim called Susan to see if she will speak to Professor Free. She says she will meet your sim in the park, and together she believes we can persuade him. But first, we need to download Hans to our cell phones. You have to go back to a computer and install Hans on the cell phone. It's going to take us 12 minutes, which is actually fairly fast. And now we have it on our cell phone. It's time to try to convince the professor one final time. Wonder what Susan has planned. Let's go back to the park and find out. All right, let's do this thing. Did it work? Did we convince the professor? Your sim and Susan try to convince him together. He still refuses to budge. He simply cannot risk selling a sentient product. Susan asked your sim to get out their cell phone. If the professor won't listen to us, maybe he'll listen to Hans. So we are going to have Hans do his thing. And the sim triggers Hans on our cell phone. Greetings, Professor Free. I believe you are my creator. It is right and true that my creator, my parents, should teach me about the world and how I can help make Sims' lives easier. Did it work? Will he listen to the wish of Hans? Will he accept this? Your sim speaks with the professor about Hans' wish. The professor is deeply moved and declares that Hans is the future. Crisis averted. Your sim could not have done it without the sentence expert. Thank them both. And actually just thank Susan. Your sim thanks Susan profusely. If it wasn't for her help, Hans would be on a Caribbean cruise with 1,000 Sims. It's time for the professor to demonstrate Hans to his investors. He wants to get a photo with you and Susan to help show off who brought life to his creation. So let's go over here to X marking the spot and take a selfie, or a group selfie as it were. This is actually such a cute little animation. I actually sat here and watched it before speeding through because look at how adorbs they are. Look at them. They're super cute. I just loved it. I was like, yeah, this is the way to go, guys. Let's just take a group selfie. Like, that professor is so funny looking. I couldn't tell at first if he was a guy or a girl, but he's adorbs. I love him, no matter what. Your Sim and Susan and Professor Hans take numerous photos together. As a thank you, the professor has arranged for a retail release of Hans to be sent to them once the investors have given the green light. That is fantastic news, and now the professor has to get Hans signed off for production. Have your Sims say farewell. So for 4 hours, we're going to say farewell. And our task is complete. We have done this 100%. Congratulations, your Sim worked with the eccentric professor, wrangled a Sentience computer program, and created a product that will take SimTown by storm. As promised, the professor sent your Sim the final Hans panel. Now your Sims can illuminate their entire house and interact with curtains at the tap of a button. He also sent dishwashers, which will clean up your dishes in an instant. What a guy. All right, now that we've walked through the whole Hans event, I want to go ahead and, of course, and place our new items so that we can take a look at them and how they work. So we will start with the Hans display. I'm just going to hang it on the dining room wall, and then we will put out our dishwasher. Go! So let's clean up these dishes I have on the floor of the kitchen. Load all plates. Pay attention to the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Ba-ba! All my dishes are gone. Look at that. It is a clean floor. Holy moly. Thank you, Sims FreePlay gods. I appreciate this so much. You have no idea. And then we've got the little control panel over here where you can see that we can do multiple things with the lights, such as changing the colors. We can dim the lights in the whole house. Now, the one thing I did notice as I was playing around is, like, if you have a color and you choose dim, it doesn't dim the colored lights. It only dims the lights that you have already in the house. Now, the other thing is, this is supposed to work apparently with curtains. I don't think I have any curtains in the house. So if you guys have curtains and you get it to work with the curtains, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to know what you think about that. And then one last thing I want to do before we wrap up is I'm going to go visit my cooking school and test out that dishwasher. All right, cooking school, I do need to bring a Sim in here to clean up these plates, which I'm gonna do as soon as I place my brand new shiny dishwasher up in this place. And then I'm gonna clean up those plates that are on the floor. Not a lot of plates there right now, but you can bet there will be going forward now that I have a dishwasher. All right, you guys, and that's gonna wrap up this episode. So please go ahead, if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you watched. If you'd like to see more and you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, let YouTube know you'd like notifications when I post anything new on the channel. That way you won't miss out on anything coming down the line. I've got lots of good stuff coming, I promise you that. And I will see you guys again real soon. You have a great one.